What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Let me say this. Back in the 1970s, right, I probably would have been a black Alan Alda type feminist type guy. And let me explain what I mean by that. I would have been all for feminism in the 1970s. I don't think it's right that a woman should be in the workplace and make less money than her male counterparts. I don't think a woman should have to deal with obvious, overt, disgusting sexual harassment. Okay? I'm talking about the shit that you saw on Ron Burgundy and shit like that. There's no place in the workplace for that crap. I'm all for equality. Absolutely. But what's going on today is not a movement for equality. That feminist movement, which I would have supported wholeheartedly back in the 1960s and 70s, and into the 80s, and even into the 90s, has been hijacked by angry, nasty, bitter feminazis. And they don't want equality. They want a complete switch of the roles within the household, in particular the black community, where they are the breadwinners. They're the ones that come home and yell and argue and beat at us, treat us like pinatas, and we're the ones who are the weaker sex. They have always had a jealousy toward us, extraordinary penis envy, and shit. With today's technology, they can get the penis. And they want to usurp males. Or you have some who, through their own personal failures, have made mistakes when it comes to their love lives, but they don't want to blame themselves because there's no such thing as female accountability sometimes. And I'm not talking to the ladies who subscribe to me, the women. I'm talking to the sorry-ass children walking around who pretend to be women, but they want to be treated like children. No accountability. Always want to point the finger at others. That's something that kids and children and adolescents do. That's something we get on teenagers for doing. Taking accountability for your own actions. But guess what? We have people walking around, and not just women. You got guys walking around here too, always want to blame everybody else for their own problems. And that's the problem with a lot of these younger people in the generation, younger people. They don't want to take accountability for their own problems. Most of the problems I have had in my life when I was younger were of my own doing. And I did that when I was in my teenage years and early 20s. I blamed oftentimes other people for shit that I did. So I'm not trying to get on my high horse like I'm better, but people are doing it to a ridiculous level. And now I want to transition to Malika Andrews. What bothers me about Malika Andrews is people are saying, okay, look, she was just doing her job by talking about what Joe Mazzulla's past was. Okay, if that's the case, if that is indeed the case, she's just putting out information that people should have to know about or supposed to want to know about, then why did ESPN suppress the story about what Andy Reid's son did when he almost killed that little girl? Why was ESPN covering up for him? Why was ESPN covering up for him? Someone explain that to me. Why was ESPN so hesitant to talk about, what was the coach? What's the coach's name? Nick Saban, I think it is. I think it's Nick Saban. I get them mixed up. Why was ESPN covering up for this guy who's a married man going around filling on women who aren't married to him? The video that they suppressed, didn't want to show on ESPN. See, this is my problem. This is why a lot of black men have problems with Malika Andrews and other people on ESPN. You say you're doing your job, but you only want to do it to one particular group. All right? And my theory is, yes, we have diversity when it comes to ESPN, allegedly. You have so many quote-unquote people of color on ESPN. But I would argue, and I hate to say this, back in the 1980s and 1990s and into the early 2000s, ESPN was essentially colorblind. It didn't matter what color you were. If you were Pete Rose, you did something wrong, they fucking reported it. If you were fucking Mike Ditka and you did something wrong, they reported it. If you were fucking Warren Moon, you did something wrong, you reported it. I don't want superiority. I want equality. I want equality when it comes to you reporting good and the bad and the ugly. Don't just limit it to people who look like me. That's the problem. That's the heart and core of the anger a lot of us have right now. And ironically, it's when people like this are in their positions, it's happening more. Some of it could be, a lot of these people may look like us, but they're not really on board with us. A lot of these people have animosity toward black people. Some of it is, they don't want to upset their bosses. They're happy to be in the position they're in, and they don't want to upset that apple cart. Whereas if you're a white journalist, you don't give a fuck about that. You're doing your job. You feel me? But when you have a white boss, and they're kind of looking for loyalty, they're looking to see, I'm fair, boss. See, I go after my own harder than I go after, I'm fair, boss. You have to worry about me, boss. Yeah, see, I go after these black guys. See, I'm fair and balanced. And that's the conundrum. Ironically, with more diversity comes more racism, because these motherfuckers are cowards. And some of them are complete hypocrites. Complete and total hypocrites. Now you tell me, why is it Malika Andrews is going so hard at Mayor Doka for cheating on his girlfriend, essentially? Early reports said that she was married, they were married or not. He's cheating and violating policy by having sex with people within her organization. But yet Malika Andrews is in a relationship with someone who is with ESPN. Now, I don't know ESPN policy, but let me look up something. ESPN policy, workplace relationships. All right, let's look at this. ESPN issues warning to staffers. Stung by the seedy sex scandal of baseball analyst Steve Phillips and a production assistant, ESPN has hauled in its top on-air talent to warn them of the perils of fooling around the office, the Post has learned. Anchors, reporters, analysts, and play-by-play people last week attended a meeting at ESPN's Bristol, Connecticut headquarters, which was broadcast via conference call to other employees nationwide, where Brash reiterated the sports network policies for workplace conduct and a concern for intra-office romances lead to problems. Although, quote, we don't have a policy right now prohibiting relationships in the workplace. Clearly, when those relationships do occur, they can present conflicts. And when those relationships present a conflict or potential conflict, we'll take appropriate action. Now, it has not been confirmed, but it's been heavily rumored that Malika Andrews dates Dave McMenamin, right? Now, Dave McMenamin is a complete LeBron dick lick extraordinaire, as is Malika Andrews. But isn't it interesting that since Malika Andrews has rose to her position, we've seen Dave McMenamin more and more often featured on ESPN? So, one could surmise that Dave McMenamin is benefiting from having this relationship with Malika Andrews, allegedly. Okay? So isn't it rather hypocritical that she's going after Ime Udoka with such gusto when ESPN already is warning against employees having extracurricular activities amongst each other? Damn, I'm good. Can you feel it? Huh? Can you feel it, Malika? You fucking hypocritical motherfucker. You can't fuck with too raw. You hypocrite.